Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Josh Reeves here with you. This is the Thursday, August 30th, 2018 edition of the broadcast. Thank you so much for being with me here for another edition of the show. I've got quite a bit to get into with you here on the show tonight, so strap in. Glad you could be here. I haven't had any time to do any updates. This is the first time I've had any chance to get up here and do an update or a show or anything. Obviously, I've been vigorously working on the films and all that stuff, so this is the first time I've had a chance to even get up here and even talk or give you any kind of an update. So, it's good to be here with you. It's good to have so much to talk about. I don't even know how I'm going to be able to get I'll be straight up honest with you. I have absolutely nothing prepared. Not that I ever really do. I mean, most of the time I have a general idea what I want to talk about, but I've had so many different news items piling up. Because even when I'm working on films and not doing shows regularly, I still, news gathering. I've got stuff, piled up that I want to talk about later. So, not having anything prepared is not really a big deal tonight. So I'm just going to be getting into all this and lots to talk about. So I'll do my best to get into all of it for you here tonight. I hope you're all doing well out there. Okay. First things first, before we go any further, updates on the film. Here's where we're at. Today was actually the day that I'd set to be the absolute final day I wanted to have it done and out by. And didn't achieve that goal yet, but we are within days now. I'm happy to report. We are within days. Looking like it's going to be Sunday or Monday at the latest. Absolute latest would be Monday, but I'm probably before then. Hopefully before then, but Sunday or Monday at the latest is what we're looking at here now. I don't even want to get into it. I've had a lot more fucking issues and shit pop up. I've almost, I don't know. It's very strange. This is, I tell you what, this has been such a weird project. This has been the most difficult project I've ever done and the most difficult film project I've ever worked on. And the reason that is because the information, the individual pieces of data, shall we say, the individual pieces of information, stuff I've talked about, discussed, that's going to be in the film, and other stuff that I haven't discussed that's going to be in it. Any one of these things on its own, what I didn't realize, because honestly, how do you ever realize this? You just can't ever tell. I bit off. The honest to God truth is I bit off way more than I could ever possibly chew with this thing. That's really the truth. Each one of these individual things, it's almost like it's almost like a bunch of films within a film. Does that make sense to you? I mean, any one of these topics, like the Kurt Cobain part with Courtney Love stuff and all that, that part alone spreads to so many different things. That could have been a movie just on its own. Or the other stuff I have, the stuff with each one of these individual things connects to the other one. Even though you wouldn't, on paper, if you looked at it, you would go, how does all this connect together? It does. And so that's what Volume 2 and Volume 3 are going to be. But what I didn't realize is that I just didn't realize that each one of these could be its own film. And somebody suggested that maybe I should do this as a series. And I've almost considered doing that now and just putting it out like part by part instead of trying to put it together as a full film. I don't know. Because the problem is, maybe it's because I'm working with an old computer, I don't know. But I've noticed that when you start getting into I even noticed this back when this computer was newer. Even back when I was doing like the first Lost Secrets of Ancient America film and stuff. Because that movie's like almost 4 hours long. But I started to notice that after you get over about, if you do a film's like an hour, something's like hour 20 minutes, hour 30 minutes, something like that, the computer handles it pretty well. But when you start getting over an hour and 30 minutes, I guess because you got that many files in there loaded up all at once, shit starts to slow down dramatically. So that's a big problem I've had, because I've had a big problem with stuff crashing, which I've never had before. When I go to try to render down files. So I don't know. I don't know yet. I don't know what I'm going to do. I may release it as, volume 2 part 1 and then do volume 2 part 2. And, spread them out by like a week or something. And then move on to finish volume 3 and have that out in a couple of weeks after that. But yeah, again, I've bitten off way more than I could chew with this. I really thought this was going to be, I knew there was a lot of info, but I didn't realize how much info I had and how much stuff. I've even trimmed the fat and cut some stuff out, and it's still, there's just so much. So, regardless of that, we're close. It's going to be coming in the next few days. This weekend for sure. If you're in the United States, this is a holiday weekend, so Monday's a holiday for a lot of people. So it'll something will be here. The only problem that we have with that is that we got the operating costs coming up due for the month on Saturday, and because I've been off the air and working on this film this month, the support that we've gotten has been absolutely abysmal. And I understand, I'm not doing shows, so you don't feel the need to contribute to what I'm doing, because in your mind, if I'm not on the air and I'm not doing, that means I'm not doing jack shit. That's what you think, because you're not seeing me do anything and work, so you think nothing's going on. And that's anything but the case. I've struggled greatly this month. I've had my dental issues and shit come back on me. I've been fighting that off and fighting it off right now. I'm in pain right now. But I've started to narrow down what it is. I just have to get, like $35 in here to get some, treatment stuff for this, which is not a lot of money, but, the big thing is we've got to have at minimum. So far, we've raised $247 of our $2,000 goal. We have to have at minimum $1,200 by Saturday. And then the rest we can have, we'll have until the first of next week to raise. We have to have a minimum of $1,200 by Saturday. No ifs, ands, or buts. And, I was hoping it wasn't going to come down to the wire like this again, but unfortunately it has. And, that's out of my hands and out of my control. There's nothing I could do to avoid this happening. And believe me, I got to be honest with you, I'm stretched as thin as I can be stretched now. I really am. I've been going way too hard for way too long, and especially this month, I've pushed it even more. And I've been supposed to have been taking it easy because of my health and stuff, and I can tell I have not been taking it easy because, like the doctors told me, this stuff is 100% stress related, and when I'm pushing it and stressing too much, that's when I'll start noticing this stuff coming back on me, and that's what happens. Because I set these goals, and I set these goals to get it done by this certain time, and so I'm stressing that, and I feel, the thing is, I feel great in my mind and mentally and everything. I feel wonderful, and I feel determined, and I feel like I can do 100%, and I'm going, and I'm going, and I'm doing it, and I'm doing it, and I'm doing it, and then these other things that are out of my control pop up and come in. And then that stresses me out. And then, I come short on the goals. And I get more stressed by that. And it just piles and piles and piles and piles, you know. And I've never experienced this in making any of my films before. And it just really sucks because I can feel my blood pressure going up. I can feel, you know, everything happening. But, you know, the one thing out of all this stuff is I've never given up. I mean, I shouldn't even be here right now talking and everything, but it's been so long, I figured I needed to get up here and do something. But, you know, I'm not giving up. I'm in pain, and it sucked, and we haven't, I mean, I'm not getting the support that I usually would get if I was just doing shows and not working on a film. But man, we're almost at the finish line. That's the main thing. But I need all of your help to get there. I can't cross this thing by myself without you. So we absolutely have to have a minimum of 1,200 no later than Saturday. Actually, with fees and, you know, I've got to be able to fucking get something to eat. With fees and everything else, probably closer to 1,400, but 1,200 minimum would be. Look, we need to reach 100%, but we've got to have that minimum on Saturday. I mean, shit. Somebody could just, you know, hey, if somebody wants to just front me the money until after the film, because that'd be great too. Whatever, you know, put me on the fucking installment plan or something. They pay you back every week or something, like Rent-A-Center style. I don't know. I'm this close. And, you know, again, force is beyond my control. Shit happens. That's all I can say. But, I mean, look, we only raised $247 all month so far of our $2,000 goal. And that's even a less of a goal than we've had in previous months. So, I mean, look, everybody out there, every single person, if you've got $100 you can contribute, every single person that has $100 needs to contribute that immediately. You know, 12, 14 people, come on. We got thousands of listeners out there. This is my 11th year. Next month's going to be the 11th anniversary of the Global Reality in September, so we'll be celebrating that all month. One of our listeners out there that made a contribution for Spellcasters Volume 2 and 3 sent me an email the other day and wants to help with future projects. And maybe try to help us get some new equipment in the future. That's fantastic. That's great news. The amount of support that people out there are now starting to get behind my films with is outstanding. And like I said, you know, I mean, this project has made me, really seriously, it made me contemplate thinking about quitting making films. But I'm not going to. But it's made me think of it because it's just been so difficult and trying. I don't think I'll ever I just didn't know it was going to be this big. I just didn't, if I would have known that each one of the individual topics that I'm discussing in this film could be its own film, I would have just done it as a series from the jump. Which in retrospect, it looks like probably what I should have done. And then later, once the series is out, then I could edit it all together as one complete film or two complete films or whatever. You know, but the bottom line is I had no idea what I was getting into. I thought that each one of these topics was just, you know, short enough where you could condense them all down and, you know, stretch them all together and connect them all together and make a complete film. Wrong. Each one of these topics could be a 2-hour film on its own. And yes, I understand that part of the filmmaking process is, stuff gets edited out or whatever else. And that, but I understand in traditional filmmaking, that's the way you can do it. But with this, it's not like you can go, well, let's cut that because it doesn't fit the narrative or whatever else. It's not that. You can't really do that with this type of film. Especially where everything is a part of this greater story that spans across decades that you're trying to show to people. That's all true life stuff. This is not like this is fiction or something. Well, let's just cut that out. It's easy to just cut whatever out if you're making a fictional Hollywood movie or something, and that doesn't make it off the cutting room floor. It's a totally different thing when you're making an information film, because all the information is important. If it wasn't, it wouldn't be there. So, I'm just going to continue to push and work and get through this and get this thing out here in the next few days. But like I said, I've got, and look, I understand I haven't been doing regular shows. I've been trying to finish this thing up. I've been hoping to have it done long before this. I get that. But man, I'm literally just a few days now from being done with this. And again, this is the most, even though we've raised $247 of our $2,000 goal this month. Any other, that's terrible. But again, I've been working on the film, haven't been doing regular shows, haven't been doing updates. I get that. But we're close to it now. So I just need everybody to step up and everybody throw in what you can. If you can't throw in 100, throw in what you can. But really what we need is 12 people. Come on. Dig deep, folks. 12 to 14. We actually need more than that. We need the whole goal. That's 1750 or something like that, I think, is our total, what we have left. But even that, 17 people, come on. There's 17 people in our listening audience right now that have $100. Man, I hate this. I really want to. I've got a bunch of news and a bunch of stuff I want to get into. I get up here and start talking during the show, my mouth and shit starts hurting. But I mean, my eye is just on the prize right now, 100%. It's on nothing else. And the prize is that fucking finish line. And I'm going to cross that motherfucker with a completed film by Monday at the latest. Turn around and drop volume 3 on you in the next couple of weeks. After that, I'm still, I don't know. At this point, I may call an audible. I don't know what I'm going to do. I may call an audible and break this thing up into individual parts and just release them individual parts, so at least we're getting something out there, with the computer slowing down with me trying to do this as one completely, I don't know. So I just want to put that out there, that's an audible I could call. The other thing is, too, I'm working on, I'm going to have this thing available in a bunch of different formats. So I've got a video encoder program now that will do, it's got like, I guess what you call templates or whatever. But it's got templates for like every kind of device. So for instance, I can make one version encode for Apple devices, one for Android devices, a standard definition in, like a super high res definition. So I'm going to be able to have this thing available in the download shop in at least 3 or 4 different formats. So if you're one of those people that only watching stuff on a phone or a tablet or something, you'll have an option. Whereas with my other films, all this other stuff, well, this will be the same way too. You got to download it to a computer first, then you can transfer it to your device later. But some of the mobile device versions that I'm going to be coming out with for this film should be able to be just downloaded directly to your device and watched without being transferred to a computer first. So, but if you do 4 of those or whatever, standard definition, high def, 720, 1080, or Android version, Apple version, you have to do individual encodes of the entire film 4 times, with each one taking who knows how long, 7-8 hours each. So that's got to be factored in. So when the thing's absolutely done, it's still going to take me that much time. As soon as the encodes begin, which will be the last thing that'll happen before it's uploaded and ready to be purchased. As soon as the encodes, the final encodes of the film begin, I will put an alert out on Facebook, and I will do an update show and upload it here to the Gold Reality Archives and to YouTube. So you will know that it will be coming imminently as soon as those encodes start. Because the other thing I've got to be aware of too is when I put out Volume 1, you fucking crazy maniacal animals out there, and I love each and every one of you truly, but you fucking animals, you crazy motherfucking animals out there, crashed the I love it though. You crashed the entire fucking server when Volume 1 came out. The demand was, it sucked because people were pissed because nobody could get their downloads. Caused chaos for a while. When it crashed the whole payload, it crashed their servers, it crashed their website. Beautiful. Fucking beautiful. I love it. That had never happened with previous films. That's how high the anticipation was. And so I have a feeling that's probably going to happen with this too. But that, again, hopefully by putting up, a few different versions of it, it'll alleviate some of that, because then it won't be. Last time was everybody hitting one. I didn't even have the SD version up yet. I just had the one regular high def version. I think I initially put up a version that was a little too large in size because I selected the wrong one. On the when you're doing like FTP uploads, the screen it shows you the files, it shit tends to all look the same, and so that caused chaos. But anyway, I'm trying to alleviate all of that this time. Also check the Gold Reality Radio Network Facebook page and the Josh Reeves Filmmaker Talk Show Host Explorer page as well. I put some rare, about a week or so ago, I put some, I'm going to be putting up more as I can find them. Like I said, I just haven't had time, but there are some up there for now. Put a bunch of rare books out of my personal collection. I'm trying to get some, I've got a library of books and stuff, but a lot of them are stuff I read on the show, like the Atlantis and the Giants book is available there, and the Manly P. Hall book, and some rare books on like the Hunt Brothers and stuff. Lots of great stuff there. I got those for sale. If you want to buy something, you can PM me on whichever one you want to buy. Let me know which one, or leave a comment and PM me, whatever. But go and check that out. And also check out Let There Be Rock's Facebook page. And we got a lot of great crystals and metal specimens up there for sale. Buying something out of there, that would help the cause too. And get yourself some downloads of if you haven't gotten all the previous films, or you haven't seen the Spellcasters Volume 1.5, or you haven't heard the Covert War Against Rock audiobook I did. Those are things you should check out in the download shop and watch and listen to before you experience Volume 2 and then 3 a few weeks after that. Other than that, man, as I've said before, man, I feel like I've been beat with a fucking ugly stick from the experience I've gone through from making these films. And I really have, I felt like this has aged me 10 years. But once it's out and once it's done and you guys start watching it and I start getting your feedback from it, none of that's going to matter. It's going to seem like a silly dream, but I tell you right now, it's tough. It's real fucking tough. I would have given up a long time ago and quit if it wasn't, number one, for you guys out there who've kept me going, and number two, for the fact that I know what I got. You know what I mean? And somebody who's been doing this as long as I have and researching this stuff and been fighting these bastards as long as I have and trying to educate people and as much research. And I mean, the other thing is I've leveled up. I mean, I'm going to another level. You may not see it right now. You'll see it when you watch the film. You'll see it even more when I'm back to doing regular shows and stuff after these films are out. But I tell you right now, I've gone to another level. Again. I've gone to another level again. And I'm not tooting my own horn, but I just, this is honest to God truth. You know, I wondered why nobody made a film like this before. Well, I know why now. Because only a goddamn maniacal, crazy motherfucker would even attempt to take on a film of this magnitude. And guess what? I'm the only fucking motherfucker. Now, what was that, fucking Starship Troopers? You want the job? I'll take it. Till I get killed or you find somebody better. That's kind of it's good. Johnny Rico. I'm taking the fucking Johnny Rico fucking approach to this one. You know, ain't nobody else gonna do it. And it needs to be done. And there's a lot of motherfuckers getting exposed with this. A lot of shit. A lot of fucking shit people have had the lid on for many years that are approaching their 60s, or in their, not approaching, but in their 60s and 70s, and all these famous people, and they've been sitting back in their ivory towers and flying around in their private jets for a long time, going, whew, man, we can't believe we got away with it. Thinking they pulled one over on all us dumb fucks out here, and then comes along old Josh Reeves. Throw salt all up in their fucking game, as per usual. Oh, there's going to be a lot of salty motherfuckers after this comes out, I tell you what. Ooh, boy. Sharon Osbourne and fucking Courtney Love will probably have a fucking no-holds-barred fucking arm wrestling match just to see who gets to be the one to put the hit out on me first. Oh my God! Yeah, that's there's gonna be there'll be a meeting after this thing comes out. There will be a meeting somewhere with some very famous faces in it that are going to be discussing what they need to do about the problem of Josh Reeves. I'm pretty positive of that. Fuck, man. Literally, some of the stuff, it's like, you can just tell when I was coming across it, when I was putting this stuff together, I'm going, man. And then you see them in interviews, you're like, dude, these people really, honest to fucking God, thought they got away with murder. Literally got away with murder. They literally thought nobody was ever going to be smart enough to figure this out, because there's so much of it, you could just easily just say, oh, well, this person, easy ways to dismiss things that you would, that sound plausible. And that's what they've been surviving on all this time. Well, not anymore after this. I'll do you one even better. Speaking of, while I was talking about maybe doing this as a series and stuff or something too, because I'll do you one even better. Because as I was saying before, I have contemplated thinking about not doing any more films after this because it's so much work, but I'm going to be doing more films. In the future, if I come across something like this, Well, I say that, but then again, how do you ever fucking know? I didn't see this coming. You know, I'd like to say that in the future I'm not going to do any more films that are this much work and this big and so much information. But how do you know? You know what I mean? I don't know, because I just thought this was going to be the next version of this film. I didn't realize I was coming into something, into this. It seems like 20 different cases. It's almost like a homicide investigator or something looking at 20 different random murders spread out over 50 or 60 years. And then in the middle of that, figuring out that all these things are connected together, these murders are connected together 50, 60 years. And how do you piece all that together and string it all together? Even if you have the proof, how do you string all that and piece it all together and then present it to people so they can see for themselves how it all connects? That's a gargantuan task. You're talking about decades of. That's what I'm dealing with here. And I'll do you one better. I'm thinking about, I want to talk about throwing an audible here. I might possibly even be, I mentioned this before, because the one thing that I'm thrilled about with this series is that if you look at all my films, I've only ever gotten, some of it's been by design. Like, I've only ever gotten to the second film. I've never gotten to the third film on any of my series. Lost Secrets of Ancient America, Volume 3, I shot 60% of, and I've got footage in the can. Stuff shot at ancient sites across Colorado, Utah, Nevada, Arizona. Information nobody's even seen, footage nobody's even seen because we just ran out of money. So I've never been able to get to that third film. So having Spellcasters Volume 2 and 3 is going to be a big achievement. But here's the doing you one better thing I was mentioning. I might even throw a 4 in there later. Because as I've mentioned, man, there's a whole, because I did Hollywood first, we've done the music industry, but then there's also the stand-up comedy thing. Man, I could do a whole 3 or 4 hour Spellcasters 4 just on that. It's crazy. It's nuts. I had no idea, ladies and gentlemen. I had no clue. And again, I know that that's a good thing. I know that it means that obviously my research is 100% on the right course. Because if it wasn't, I wouldn't be constantly finding all of this fucking information and all of this shit that connects together, and I wouldn't be only finding it now. I've been researching 26, 27 years. 27 now. This is 2018. Yeah? 27? It's crazy, man. Because I see little hints of this stuff everywhere now. It's kind of like waking up all over again. You know what I mean? You know how when you first start becoming aware of this stuff and you start kind of first being broke out of the matrix, so to speak? And where you never saw this stuff before, you were just oblivious to it. Once you're aware of it and awakened to it, then you see it everywhere. You see it in everything. And it could drive you crazy if you don't know how to process it properly. Everybody handles it in different ways, but you go through different phases of this. But that's what this experience has been like for me. I feel like I've woken up again in a completely different way. And now, like, if I'm just watching even just like some random podcast or something on YouTube or something, or having it in the background as I'm working or something, I catch little glimpses of this little, just somebody else say something, and it's another it's another clue and a hint. I was trying to say clue and hint, and I said Clint. Who the fuck is Clint? Clint Howard? I get little random clues and hints now everywhere. watch something unrelated, somebody will say something on here, and I'll go, God damn, do you hear that? There's another little fucking clue right there. So, believe me, you're going to have that experience too once you see this. But yeah, man, I mean, a lot of other people would have given up, but that's the thing. No matter what I've fucking had to endure, I would not have endured it if I didn't know what the fuck I was sitting on over here. But it's, at the same time, I'm not going to lie to you, it's scary, man. There's going to be some pissed off motherfuckers when this stuff comes out. Truly. So yeah, I will be continuing to make films after this. And listen, I'm not going to lie to you. I've got film ideas to make films for the next 10 years. I mean, I got enough. There's no shortage of that. I got another project I'm going to start working on later in the year, after Volume 3 is out and whatnot. I got another project I'm going to be working on. It's actually going to be my first non-conspiracy documentary film. Looking forward to doing this. It's going to be just a kind of a fun little project and a fun thing I'm going to be doing that's not in the conspiracy world at all. It's a real life story and whatnot, documentary. But I'm looking forward to that because, that's going to be easy. It doesn't have to be fucking 3 hours long, It can be an hour and 20 minutes or an hour and a half, even, or an hour even, or... But it's I think it has the possibility. It's such a good story that I think it has the possibility to actually get some mainstream attention. I had this idea 4 or 5 years ago, but it just stuff never. You know how it is. You got to do stuff when it's the right time, when the time's right. But I'm looking forward to that. Because that's something, like, I can't get, there's no fucking way you can get the spellcasters in a fucking, you ain't going to get the spellcasters in a film festival, No one's going to fucking take that movie and have it be accepted, a conspiratorial movie. So I've wanted to do, at least have one project, one film that I do or so, and do more in the future. But I've wanted to start having additional types of films out there that don't have anything to do with the conspiracy stuff. Just stuff like stories and stuff that I think need to be told, And there are a lot of them. Anyway, I have a friend, and her dad started one of the biggest chain restaurants ever. He sold it in the 80s, but he had all these just innovations and things and stuff that he pioneered that's around in the restaurant business for years, but his story is completely untold, unknown. There's not, if you even try to look up stuff, there's nothing on the internet. He doesn't have a Wikipedia page, but his story's fascinating because tons of innovation stuff that is like just now considered everyday part of life that this guy pioneered and invented, and yet nobody's ever told his story. Nobody ever will unless I do. It's just it's a fantastic story, a real life story of somebody who, created this massive company, sold it, but then, I don't think he's very rich now. I don't really know, but from as far as I know, he's not. But it's just one of those weird things, happens to be a friend of mine's dad. So I'd had this idea years ago that we should make a film about him, and so we're going to start doing that. And that's going to be something, I mean, absolutely I could get put up on Netflix or, on iTunes and get in film festivals and stuff. Maybe even get somebody to pick it up and even get it on cable or some shit. So, and something that's not going to take a whole bunch of money to do. It won't take a ton of research. We're going to have interviews with, he met and knew a lot of famous people too. So we're going to try to get interviews with some of these famous people that he knew and just get different clips of people talking about him and him telling his story. And anyway, yeah, I'm excited about that after I'm done with the Spellcasters series. Cause it's something that won't take near the amount of time. It won't be anything I'll have to take time off doing the show for. It won't affect anything else I'm doing at all, because it's just such a completely different thing than like these information films and these films that I make. It's nothing like if you're just making a story about somebody and all you got to do is like set up a video camera and video that person talking and then edit their story and show a picture on the screen. Easy. What I'm doing now with this film, it's like a whole bunch of individual films that could all be 2 or 3 hour films individually. And you're trying to figure out how to piece all these together into one cohesive thing. And you've got like 10 hours worth of information and you're trying to break it up into 2 films. It's a night and day thing. So I'm ecstatic about having a project to work on that's going to not take very much resources, not take very much time, will be fun to do, but will also be able to, compete out there in the regular documentary thing, not get completely pushed off to the side, ignored, and denied access anywhere strictly because it's a conspiratorial film. So, again, I'm excited about getting to that project because dude, if that thing I think this could be huge. Because it's such a great story, and it's one of those stories that hasn't been told, and should be told, and could generate funds that could then support the conspiratorial side of what I'm doing. See what I'm saying, folks? So it's a win-win. So I'm excited. But like I said, so close to the finish line now, but I can't, I can see the finish line, but I can't cross it without you. I got to have all of you out there with me, shoulder to shoulder. And we got to carry each other across that finish line. I'll put the fundraising campaign page banner is up on all of our Facebook sites, the Global Reality Radio Network Facebook page, Josh Reeves Filmmaker Talk Show Explore page, and as well in the comments and in the information section of the video here on YouTube. If you still can't find it, email me, globalrealityshow@gmail.com. You can also use the donate button at the website, theglobalreality.com. I had a bunch of news and stuff I was going to get into, but I'm too beat to do it, and I've got to get back to work. I should have taken off this much time just to come and talk to you, but I needed to come talk to you. You hadn't heard from me in a while. I will. Before I go though, I do have to mention this. God damn, there's been so many fucking Alex Jones stories coming out that I've been off the air. I can't even keep up with all of them. Like as soon as I hear one, and then I'm like, oh, I should talk about that, and then another one comes out. It's hilarious. When I started getting, people started sending me this a few days ago, and I had already heard about it, but Fucking hilarious. InfoWars Alex Jones caught with trans porn on his phone after repeatedly bashing transsexuals as Satanists and pedophiles. The funniest part of this is that, oh, there he is, too. There she is. There it is. That's Marissa Minks celebrated her new and unusual fan, offering Jones a free membership to her website. However, Jones has yet to respond. That's a handsome young man there, Jonesy. You know how to pick him, son. That's a handsome man you got there, Marissa Minks. He said, I think it's fantastic he's watching scenes. I think it's great he's watching my work. I had heard of InfoWars before. Hi, Alex Jones. Happy to give you a free membership to my site, or maybe you could have me on your show for a discussion. That's hilarious. It is fucking funny. I mean, believe me, I laughed as much as anybody did. But didn't I tell y'all that a long time ago? Didn't I have that picture in one of my films where he's dressed in drag? Listen, man, a large percentage of these right-wing Republican guys, a huge, massive percentage of them are all fucking butt pirates behind the scenes. Fucking chasing each other around with their one-eyed scallywags. I mean, they're literally. Well, these guys are, I mean, how many stories? I can't tell you. I've probably covered 5 or 6 throughout the years on the show where, you know, remember the rentboy.com? Do you remember that? The anti-gay Republican senator or whatever got caught with an $800 a day male prostitute from rentboy.com that advertised himself as having an 8-inch sculpted cock. And when they caught the guy, the Republican senator who led one of the top anti-gay groups in the country, you know, actively campaigning against homosexuals. Sir, why do you need... Oh, well, I just hired him to help me carry my bags because my back was hurting. Right. Let me get this straight. You need somebody to carry your bag around for you? And the only person you could find to do that was a male escort who charged $800 a day and had an 8-inch perfectly sculpted cock? I'd like to just explain to me. I'm a layperson, I guess, when it comes to the ways of the cock, other than my own. What exactly does an 8-inch sculpted cock, what advantage does that give you in carrying somebody's fucking bag around all weekend? That's what I want to know. Of course, Jones and all those elite fucking scumbags, and a lot of the neo-Nazis and stuff too. A lot of those guys are fags. All those guys are butt boys behind the scenes. They scream and yell about, oh, fuck them fags and fuck them niggers and deep, 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 deep. Meanwhile, they're back there, you know. Can't wait to cornhole them a black guy behind the woodshed. Listen, again, this shit is hilarious. I mean, Jones getting fucking caught. But again, just like I've been telling you, ladies and gentlemen, yes, it's funny. Yes, you should laugh at it. I'm laughing at it. We should all laugh at it. Have ourselves a belly laugh. Ha, ha, ha. Jonesy likes... I mean, didn't this already come out? Didn't this shit come out that when his custody trial was going on, didn't his ex-wife, Violet, didn't she say something about... Well, there's some shit like that, kind of, that that he was involved with escorts with like Charlie Sheen, and one of the ones that hang out at Charlie Sheen's house or something was a transsexual. Didn't that already come? Didn't something like that? There was already accusation. I think that already coming out before. But again, the point is, yeah, have a laugh at it. I'm gonna have a laugh at it. We can all have a laugh at it, but don't get it twisted. Just like I've been telling you, all of this stuff, this is all a part of the op, ladies and gentlemen. None of this is an accident. I said this years ago. I'm talking like 2008, 2009. When I was exposing Jones, when very few people were exposing him. When so many people were still on board the Jonesy bandwagon. I told you, there are shows back from that almost 10 years ago with me saying this, ladies and gentlemen, that I told you that he would have a controlled descent, that he would have a controlled ascent, and they would control his ascent to the top, control his ascent to popularity, and then he would have a controlled descent, ladies and gentlemen, controlled by the same people that brought him up, and that the descent will be just as controlled and just as manipulated and staged as the ascent was. And that's what's going on here, so don't get it twisted. Okay? All this shit happening. How the fuck has Jones magically stayed in the news, good or bad, every fucking week for almost this entire year? Or over the past year? The trials, the custody battle, the fucking Sandy Hook stuff, him getting wiped off of social, all of this is staged. You think this happening just as all this other stuff is happening? You think him randomly getting caught with tranny porn and all this is just a fucking random happening? It is not, ladies and gentlemen. Don't fall for it. This is all another part of the operation. And what they want is people who, like me and others, really not people like me, more like people who don't like Alex Jones. Not that I like him either, but what I'm saying is, this is really aimed at the people who I've just been exposing him and going after him because he's a part. I've known for 10 years now that he's been a part of this. As soon as I started pieced him and connected him together to the CMP, and I found out what their main agenda is, and it always has been, and that is to covertly weave in ways to help bring down the United States and do away with the constitutional form of government, bring in theocratic rule of law. I've known that there was going to be a controlled ascent and then a controlled descent. That's what's going on here right now, ladies and gentlemen. This is all part of their controlled operation they've been running for many, many years. This is the long con. This is not the short game. This is the long con. So again, as much as, that's why you haven't heard me celebrating or acting like I think all this stuff that's been going on with Jones is somehow great just because it seems detrimental to him. No. This is not, these are not victories that I hoped we would achieve from all the years I spent exposing him. That's not what this is. Because none of the stuff that is really important about Jones, none of the real stuff like I've been exposing, mainstream media is not going to touch that. The only stuff they're touching is this controlled, staged, rolled out, controlled descent of Jones. They controlled his ascent. They controlled his descent. That's how operatives work. So don't kid yourself. Yes, it's hilarious. He got caught with tranny porn, blah, blah, blah. But think about the timing. Think about everything else that's been going on. This is justice. This didn't happen by it. You think Jones just accidentally left that up on there? No. Jones, he takes marching orders. This is all part of his staged game. Don't fall for it. He even admitted, as I told you, he admitted that he staged all this stuff and pushed him. He even told his dad, that he staged all this stuff to get banned. This is just like what happened. Remember when shortly after 9/11, when Michael Moore came out with his Fahrenheit 9/11 movie, didn't have anything to do with exposing anything about 9/11 in it. But then if you brought up like 9/11 truth stuff after that, or brought up Building 7 or something, people would go, "Oh, yeah, well, you're just a Michael Moore dude." I've talked about this many times before. That's what they do. Anytime they get a subject that they want to keep a lid on, they don't want the conspiracy to be blown open on, they assign a figurehead to that conspiracy, somebody that's easily discredited, somebody that's a goof, and somebody that a name they can attach and a persona they can attach to that. So then if you start talking about, if you bring up Sandy Hook or whatever, what are you, looking Alex Jones? So this is what they're wanting to do with all conspiracies, all information, now, even the stuff that Jones would never touch and talk about. That's another way they want to get a clamp down on the truth and get a clamp down on any future truth and information coming out. This is why they're trying to shut down truther YouTubes and everything else. They want to use Jones as the catch-all conspiracy thing. That way, in the future, they can use the old guilt by association thing and try to associate anybody that puts out truth on any subjects. Again, even if there's stuff that Jones would never touch. Oh, you know, talking about conspiracies, you must be into trannies and be a Trump supporter then. You see what I'm saying? This is where they're going with this. So again, I'm not going to sit here and gloat and go, I told you so. You know, I showed you that picture 10 years ago of Jones dressed in drag and all that stuff and whatever. You know, the other thing about Bohemian, he goes to Bohemian Grove, but doesn't show any of the butt sex shit going on there. That should have been a clue. I mean, that's one of the main things about Bohemian Grove is the gay sex stuff that they do there. And that's not conspiracy theory. There are images in black and white pictures going back to early 1900s, you know, where the men are dressed up as fairies and, you know, looking very, very effeminate and wearing like feminine clothes and stuff. I mean, it's an elite, people who have security clearance. That's the main thing. You got to have security clearance to be a member of the Grove. It's the other thing he won't tell you. They just say, oh, it's elite and it's military. It's this, that. No. Security clearance, buddy. That's the main thing. Everybody that goes to the Grove has got a security clearance in one way or the other. State Department, CIA, NRO, whatever it may be. That's one of the main things that he didn't tell anybody about, and he's kept a lid on. Remember when he was, folks, I've seen Charlie Sheen's hernia, folks. I've seen it. You've seen his hernia? You have to have your fucking, what, you have your fist up his asshole when you saw it? What the fuck, dude? But yeah, you know, this stuff's come out about Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen's into the fucking trannies and stuff too. I mean, that's, you know, him and Joan, they're into that stuff. But all this stuff that's been happening and all this stuff's been going on with this whole Jones thing, again, it's less about Alex Jones and more about associating anybody that might be considered conspiratorial, associated and guilt by association with Alex Jones. That's why 10 years ago, and I've done it every couple of years, I mean, I've disassociated myself with the truth movement, conspiracy movement. I'm just an individual. You know, the guy that's been screaming about conspiracy, just like I told you years ago, the guy that's been screaming about FEMA camps all the years is going to be the guy that ends up getting you put in one. The guy that's been screaming about these conspiracies and this, that, and the other for all these years is the very guy that's going to basically be trying to put a clamp down on everybody. I don't know what the solution is at this point. But that's why I'm glad that I've marched to my own drummer and stuck to my own, you know, topics. So I'm never put out and never do topics and stuff that are trendy at the time. But it's crazy. It's like as soon as I put out, it's crazy how much stuff I put out in Lost Secrets of Ancient America 1 and 2, stuff with mounds and stuff with rock. I mean, how much that stuff has exploded since then. Somebody sent me another article the other day about somebody, so I guess it was from last year, and it was basically a lot of my work on Jones and his connection to Scientology. And of course, they didn't give me credit one bit, of course. Just like there's people out there taking my CMP work for years and tried to build careers off of them, give me no credit back, you know, and they're taking my stuff word for word. It's like fucking CIA Al Jurgensen from Ministry when he was on fucking Bill Burr show. I think they ended up taking that show down, or they had the version up there. He said they're word for word quoting my spellcaster stuff about the Anunnaki and L. Ron Hubbard. Word for word quoting me right out of my own movie. But yeah, these motherfuckers are about to get kicked in the balls with this movie. That's for sure. All right, folks, we're almost there. We're almost at the finish line. I can't fucking believe it. I'm so excited. I got lots of work left to do, and I can't make it across that line without you. And so we need everybody just to pitch in whatever you can so we can reach that goal and get it in the minimum we need by Saturday. We'll talk again soon. I'll be back here, and I'll try to do as many shows as I can over this weekend and as many shows as I can leading up to the release and completion and uploading of the new film. I love you guys very much. Thank you again for your continued support. Please give me what you can so we can get this done. We'll see you soon. Take care.